What happened there?
All right, so hi everyone. We are back. Hopefully, let me type into the chat. Okay, so welcome again. You know how it is with live TV. It's not live TV, live online stuff. Can you hear me now, Zach?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you perfectly, and hopefully that's working now. So let's do a take 3. Welcome to Matitude, the Eurovision live stream where we talk about the Eurovision news of the week. And we do that every week. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, and then we'll go from there. And as I said, Zach is actually one of my buddies. Now my camera is jumping around a little bit here, but we're going to fix that as well. This is your 4th time at Eurovision, I believe?
Yeah, this will be year 4, 2013, 15, 17, and now 2019.
2019, okay, yes, that is true. So it's crazy. We were actually the ones that I have very fond memories of our first Eurovision together in Malmö, Sweden, in 2013, when we actually lived like in a neighborhood that was fairly rural, like residential, I should say, and on our bike singing "It's My Life" from Romania. I'm not sure if you remember those moments. Cesar. Yes.
I just remember 2 of us doing 6 people's work.
Oh, yes. Those were really long days, but now we can laugh about it, right?
Oh yeah, I still play those, so I have to get, so I teach now. Like Matt knows, I'm a professor now at a university in the US. When I first started, I was a grad student, but we have to get our students to fill out surveys evaluating us, and I trick my students into filling them out by promising that I'll play embarrassing clips. So I always play the clip of me gushing over Pasha from Moldova in 2013.
Yes.
Valiona.
I had to actually tell you.
It's quite embarrassing.
I was like, you're totally just like, fangirling
totally.
there.
I was just like, I'm giddy with excitement, and I just showed it to my students, and I was like, oh, God.
It was funny to me. But hey, all water under the bridge. Okay, so as I said, I'm just making sure that everything is working out okay. Today we have some technical difficulties here. Is it lagging with you guys? Guys, if you have some lagging issues, let me know. I will just reboot again right now, but hopefully it'll pick up. But that's sometimes how technology goes. Doesn't always play along right away. But if the sound is working, that would be at least something. The video is lagging, someone is saying. Okay, let me... Okay, y'all, I came back and see if that is we're gonna just keep chatting, Zach, until we figure out the lag situation. It's sometimes out of our hands because technology is going on, guys. So the sound works, that is something. It's just really the lagging part that is kind of affecting it. But the sound, hey, we'll just keep going. Hopefully at that point in a few minutes, the lag will go away by itself. So forgive me, guys. That is just something that sometimes comes with the territory. All right, so let's talk about the first few topics, and then we'll go from there. There are a few, this is the first week of 2019, so usually it's like the slower week when it comes to, news and updates, but we've had quite a few of them, and let's start with a quick one. I don't think we have to talk about it a whole lot, but it's Melodifestivalen in Sweden 2019. So I just want to have almost more of a general discussion around this because I find it interesting, the topic in itself. In case you don't know, Melodifestivalen, the Swedish national final, right? So what they do is they have that big final with 4 semis, and then the second round, and then the finale, and then one song wins. It's like the mother of national finals. Everyone loves it. Everyone watches it. Okay, everyone is still lagging, but that is okay. I'm just keep doing what I'm doing here until it's working again. So basically what's happening in Melodifestivalen, they have announced that there are not going to be any joke entries whatsoever. And the reasons, basically, they're blaming it on the hosts almost. It was very interesting. But basically, what they said, they announced there will be no joke entries. And they're asking, actually, what do you guys think about that? So I'm thinking, why not joke entries? I just want to focus on the humor that's done through the actual hosts. Now, do you think, Zach, in this day and age, joke entries still have a place in Eurovision or Melodifestivalen?
I guess it really depends on what is the content that makes it a joke entry, and more importantly, is it a joke that is going to translate and transcend across different countries? If you have a song such as Estonia Letosvet from 2008,
Oh, God.
that was just an inside joke to the Estonians, I would assume, and it just did not translate well to the international audience that was the viewership at Eurovision in, let's see, 2007. That was Helsinki, right?
2007 was Helsinki, yes.
Or 2008 was in Helsinki. No,
Oh, no,
2007 was in
2008 was in
Serbia.
Serbia, yes.
Serbia, sorry. Um, so I think that's kind of where joke entries don't work. I think joke entries now have to be a little bit more whimsical. I guess someone could make an argument that Moldova last year was sort of not really a joke entry, but just kind of a more fun, free-spirited type of entry that was kind of tongue-in-cheek in some points, but creative also to kind of capture the audience's attention. We always talk about that there's 25 other entries in the finale, and you have to make sure your song stands out. And so you have to think of ways to make things work. I mean, honestly, I think this reaction is more just the Swedish broadcaster being a little bit scared about the televoting results from last year. I mean, it was a shocker to see Sweden finish 21st or 22nd in the televote.
That was quite the moment, yes. Our video went a little viral, our reaction. That is true. I'm trying to think exactly what they're trying to get that accomplished with that as well, because there are 20 something songs in there, and as you pointed out, a gimmick fun song doesn't necessarily equal bad. There are songs that I think are actually, even if you don't like a specific song, you can at least see, okay, this was fun, this was something enjoyable. And one of the most popular ones is obviously Dancing Lascia Tumbai. And it just worked because people gravitated towards it because it was funny, catchy, but it still was still a song that, I still listen to when, you hear it come on in my playlist. So the essence was not just trying to, I mean, yes, they were trying to be funny, but they were not just relying on silliness, like, as you pointed out, Leto Svet in 2008, which was mostly just catered to the Estonian folks. Or I would even go the same year, that was a horrible year for Eurovision, like Dustin the Turkey, Irlande 12 points, which is basically just making fun of the contest overall, and that did not work.
I think in reality, the national finals work in two.
All right, y'all, I put it back on. I brought down the quality of the video and see if that is going to do something with it. The only other option I see is like we have to start over completely, but then we lose everyone. So we'll have to wait and see how this is going to pan out. But anyway, so back to the topic. Do you think, though, just looking at because they tweeted about it, to go back to the topic, saying this is just we just want to try it out this year. Do you think it's a good idea? I really feel, as you pointed out, it seems as they were getting a little nervous about the televote. That they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do at this point. Because let's keep Krista Bjorkman in particular, he's very, very competitive. And he wants to do well. So I think something has triggered them from last year where they didn't do well with the televoters, that they want to do something. But then again, Benjamin Ingrosso was not really a joke entry, so I think they may be overthinking that. I don't know. Usually, I enjoy. You need to have a comic relief, at least in the show, even if it doesn't win in the end. Granted, last year, did you watch Melodifestivalen, Zach, last year?
I think I watched one of the semis.
Oh, you didn't watch the show? Okay, because I actually, last year, one of the joke entries was one of my favorites, actually, which was Shuffla, Shuffla, Dum, Dum, Dum. That was the only one that really stood out to me. But it's just very interesting how that goes. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the idea of not having joke entries. I don't think you should pick an entry just because it's funny, but just because it feels right. And I think that is what, I think Sweden is overthinking it. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I think it's just I really think they want the win, and they're willing to sacrifice the viewership potential without the joke entries for the quality of music.
Yeah.
I don't. Was there a joke entry that did really well last year
I mean,
in the Melody Festival that could have hampered Benjamin's win?
not. I mean, the only one that really came to mind, the one that did the best, was Shuffler, the one I was talking about, which finished like fourth place or fifth place overall. So it definitely was popular, but it wasn't like just within reach or anything like that because the
Yeah.
juries wouldn't allow it anyway. So yeah, we have to wait and see. It's just a very interesting approach by them, but I like my joke entries if they're done right. I don't want to return to the year 2008 where we had just. I don't want to even go into that. But we don't want to use that playfulness. That's something, as you point out, Moldova, the song itself, maybe not a joke entry. Even the staging was funny and playful, but I think they clearly had an idea that we were going for the telenovela kind of drama, over the top kind of acting with it, and it worked with the song, even though the lyrics were not necessarily deep or anything. But it just, the whole sound and the style, it just totally worked, and that's what it comes down to. If you do it right, it's going to work. So don't overthink it. I think that's the moral of the story here. Then who do we have next? Let's talk about Greece real quick. Greece, as we all know, hasn't done really well at the Eurovision Song Contest over the past 4 years or so. And the Greek broadcaster ERT, they announced an internal selection for Eurovision 2019. So they will first select an artist and then the song for Eurovision. In previous years, they tried to have some national finals, but this is the fourth year where they technically do not have one. And if, in case you guys don't remember, Greece, they had a national final until all songs either withdrew or was disqualified. So the eventual winner was won by default, if you will. So it was slightly messy. So as said, they're going to select it internally. They're using a special made jury for that. And they're discussing with several artists right now at this point in time, but no details can be revealed according to the broadcaster. And then we'll go from there. But in case you also didn't know, so Minos, EMI, and Panic Records, two major records labels in Greece, both of them said they will not take part or send any songs to be for consideration for multiple reasons. Minos EMI actually has Tamta signed, who is going to represent Cyprus this year. So they're like, we don't want to compete against ourselves, basically. So they're like, we're out. And then Panic Records, they decided not to send in a song because there is some conflict of interest, I guess. Paris Kassidokatsas is the owner. He used to be in a relationship with Tamta, so they're like, we're not going to open that can of worms. So we're just going to sit out as well. So I don't know what's going to happen. Zach, what are your thoughts? I think looking at the recent history in Greece, is this the way to go?
I honestly don't know. I mean, you know, honestly, Matt, you gave me the list of things to consider for this live stream, and this was the one I was struggling to think about whether an internal selection is the right way to go or not. But I do know one thing for sure, and that the fan base in Greece for Eurovision is one of the passionate I've seen online as well as in person at Eurovision, and I don't think there's anything wrong with getting their opinions and their feedback about who they should consider. Because it sounds like with two big record labels from Greece not being involved, they're really not going to have that many options left. And they're a couple years past X Factor Greece and whatever their version of that show is. And they may just not have any artists to really go after. So I think it may not be a bad idea to get some of the fan feedback from internally inside the country.
Yeah, that is true. I'm thinking because I said, this is the fourth year they're going internally. Again, that's a tricky question because they had technically had a national final and they didn't. This is the fourth year they're going with an internal selection ultimately. And the last 4 years have been where they've been really struggling. In 2016, they failed to qualify for the very first time. As a matter of fact, weren't they like second to last, or like 15th place or something like that in the semis? They weren't even close to qualifying. Then in 2017, they barely squeezed through with Demi, like 10th place, just to kind of not do anything major in the finals. And then this year, once again, did not qualify. So I don't know.
I still have nightmares about those rehearsals. They just could not get that chorus to sound right.
Oh, I know. Well, the first two individual rehearsals, she tried to hit that high note, and once then the dress rehearsals kicked off, they're like, you know what, girl, you sing the low notes and let the
I,
backup
but
singers do the legwork.
I don't think it was actually her voice. I just think it was the acoustics. I mean, there's different acoustics that come into play when you're in different areas, and it probably sounded great in the recording studio, but just when you get in a big hall like that, sounds sounds can come off very differently. I mean, I know this all just from a Destiny's Child documentary where they talk about this. You know, that's where I'm getting my my knowledge of this. But that's the first thing I thought of is why that note didn't sound well when we were hearing it from the rehearsals.
It's very sweet that you give them the benefit of the doubt there. But keep in mind, they already had rehearsals before they even showed up there. So somebody else was singing that note in the rehearsals with the stand in. So I would think that it sounded fine there, unless her voice carries a certain sound that really caused that. But I don't know. She's not necessarily known as the biggest, best singer. But hey, it's water under the bridge by now, I would say. Um, so yeah, so what do you have any suggestions for Greece as far as like what they should do? Picking a song, should they go with what they tried last year and just do it better, or do they need to have that sound that we all appreciate from Greece, the the booty shake
Hey,
kind of
there's
sound?
always a 1 in 360.
Oh God. No, we don't want to do that. We'll get to that actually in just a moment. But I think it should be just I think Greece needs to find itself again in the contest. And I've noticed a lot of countries go through that. Even the powerhouse of Sweden, they went through that, right? From like 2005 to 2009. Yes, they had Corolla a good year, but for like 5 years, they struggled. They couldn't figure out what to do with Eurovision. And now they are back to speed. And then Bulgaria could never figure out Eurovision. Then they could figure it out. So maybe Greece is going for that same thing. What do you think?
Yeah, could be. I mean, they really were masters at ethnic pop music that when you heard it, you knew it was Greek. And then just, I don't know, something happened. It's very much like Argo was very in your face ethnic music, but I think the rap may have put some people off. I had no issues with it, but when you listen to um, well, actually, I take that back because Gianna's song this year I felt very much had that Greek sound.
It does,
Um,
yeah.
but it sounds like I wasn't there this year, but it sounds like there's some issues getting some stuff delivered, and the performance that we saw on TV was not the performance they had anticipated presenting.
Absolutely not. And I got a lot of angry Greeks on our live streams in where were we? Lisbon. During because we were saying, look, I like that song. I was actually very pro Greece that year with the song because it had the traditional vibe and feel. But just watching the rehearsal, I'm like, they are not getting their act together. Now they're blaming some of it on the team in Lisbon for not doing the fireworks right, but then also the lighting, and then she used that blue hand, which means nothing to anyone unless you live in Greece, where this is the color of the country and all of that stuff. But to us, it's like, ew, what is that? And they changed it every single rehearsal. It's like until the very end, even like when they finally performed, I'm like, okay, this is completely different again from what they did before. So I think that really hurt them. And when myself and Sean, we both said Greece is not going to qualify. We got a lot of heat for that. In the end, we were right on that one, but it just, you knew, and it doesn't come together. The click isn't there. And we had that happen before, Zach. Remember, I think like Estonia, Verona, we knew that would struggle in the end. It just never came together all the way. And that
Yep.
happens sometimes. And that's what happened with Greece, unfortunately, this year. So hopefully they'll get their act together. Yes, you don't want to make them, they need to send something because Greece is a proud nation about their sound and their heritage. I'm sure they can figure out something that is Greek and yet still is appealing to the masses. And that is, I think, the gap that they have right now. But I cannot be mad at them for going internally only because they're still struggling financially, so this is also the cheapest option there is out there. One of the reasons why the last national final kind of fell apart was because each label had to kind of pay for everything going to Eurovision. That's not a small amount of money.
I don't know. They had no problems putting together a national final at a shopping mall one year.
I know, why don't they do that? That was my favorite. This was 2012. So yes, that was special. They could do
Yeah.
that, but even just besides the national final, it's about the cost going to Eurovision and all of that stuff. That is not cheap either. So we have to wait and see. But I'm hoping for Greece coming together with something that will work. But let's talk about a
Well,
country.
I will
Okay.
say I do feel bad for Greece, but I feel worse for FYR Macedonia. We want to talk about a country that struggles with getting stuff done right
Mm-hmm.
when it's on stage. That's the country, and I think they have the worst. I think they're the last country to qualify now. If we're talking about years since qualification, I think they hold the record now.
Greece?
No, FYR
Oh,
Macedonia.
FR Macedonia. Sorry. Yes, yes, yes. That is correct.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, because San Marino qualified in 2014, Montenegro 15. Yeah, definitely Macedonia at this point. Yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like every year they have a good, decent song, and then just something doesn't mesh well at the live show.
yes. It's. I mean, in Macedonia in 2015, you were in Vienna. They didn't even know exactly what to do with the staging when they got there. And they're like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm like, oh gosh, that's not how you approach Eurovision. That was a death sentence for that one. Um,
Yeah.
So Lily Luss is asking Sweden should have sent Nana Granva in 2005 and they would have won. Oh, I watched. Yeah, that was way better. I'm not sure if you watched. You probably didn't watch the national. I didn't watch it either back then, 2005 Melody Festival, but people recommended that video to me, and that was superior to Martin Stenmark's Las Vegas. And I love Martin Stenmark. I love his music. As a matter of fact, a couple of nights ago, I had a dream about him. Don't get any ideas. I'm talking about like him performing on Melody Festival and I hating his song. I'm like, I wanted your song to be so good. I just came to me that I remember having a dream about that. That's what happens when you do too much Eurovision. You dream of Eurovision.
Creepy.
I know, I know, right? There are a few questions coming in. I'm trying to keep up with it. Greece has so much potential, but don't make it on stage like FYR Macedonia. Yes, that's what Zach just kind of pointed out in that thing. But also keep in mind, Greece used to be able to put together, until like 2013 for the most part. They figured things out, and then something went wrong after that. They just never recovered from that. Even like when they qualified with, Rise Up with the trampoline was maybe a little much. It was fun in the arena, but it didn't translate well on camera.
Oh, totally didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, in the arena it was fun. Like, oh my god, look at them, they're flying. And then
Yeah, but when I was watching it from home, um, I was just like, this is a mess, and I want to see the artist, and I kept seeing pictures of the audience.
yes, that's true. That was not smart. So yeah, we have to wait and see. But of course, we want Greece to do well. Um, the next topic, and that is a country that's dear to both of our hearts, Zach, is
It
San
is.
Marino.
Oh,
San
yeah.
Marino, we have a very good. They've been so kind to us when we first entered the Eurovision scene, if you will. Took us in and not took us in, but they definitely were like, "Hey, you guys doing a great job. Hang in there." And so we always have a soft spot for them. The teams change over the years, so the people that were in charge in 2013 are not going to be in charge in 2019. But we're also Eurovision fans, and San Marino is the country for the Eurovision fans more than the ordinary viewers. Is that a fair thing to say?
I wouldn't call them the country for the Eurovision fans. I think people identify more with Valentina than with San Marino. Let's just
Yeah,
put it
but
that
even
way.
if you think about I didn't know the guy. It's like it was such a like he was. It was Eurovision fans responded to, it. And even last year, they del- people fell in love with San Marino last year because they kind of almost made fun of themselves, like the robot that was holding the sign. Right? I forgot what did he say in the in the broadcast in the end.
Justice for Valentina.
No, but that was during the rehearsals, not during the live stream. The live stream during the actual live show. There was something else on there.
Uh,
One said, "Will you marry me?" and then something else, something. It was really funny. They always had different signs just to please the Eurovision fans. So we all just loved San Marino in the end. So that was always very special. But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing up San Marino is because it was announced by the broadcaster RTV that they will choose the act internally this year. So Zach, any final thoughts? Rest in peace, 1 in 360.
well, do you remember a couple years ago when there was that whole rumor going about that a K-pop group had followed, or they were liking
Yes.
stuff from Ralph Siegel, and that the whole rumor is that it was going to be a K-pop group who was going to represent San Marino.
Yes.
I think that'd be freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, I love that.
To have some K-pop or J-pop or something like that. But it was size doesn't matter. That's what the viewers are saying for the sign that was being held up.
Oh, size doesn't matter. That's what it was.
Size doesn't matter. Yep. But I just saw this thing about the living Ken doll and the Russian woman Diana, and I listened to that high Wi-Fi song of hers, and I was just like, if they're choosing an international artist, then it's got to be someone who's actually talented and someone who's not going to scare off viewers.
Yes, that is true. In case you guys are just joining the live stream, it is a little choppy today, the live stream, the quality, so I apologize for that. Hopefully it gets better, but sometimes technology is out of our control. But just to add on to what you were saying, Zach, it's two names are floating around now that an internal choice has been made. One of them is Rodrigo Alves, better known as to the world as the human Ken doll. I guess you could say he's a controversial figure because he has, like, I want to say an addiction to plastic surgery, and you can see it on his face, when you look at, pictures of him, that he has so much surgery you can barely recognize a person out of this.
God, I wish I had that much money. I wouldn't be spending on plastic surgery.
No, well, it's different if you get, like, something done, right? Like, you get, like, here, a little Botox here, like, get your nose fixed there. But people get addicted to it, and then they just go overboard. And that is exactly what happens here. There's obviously something else going on. But the reason why we bring it up, not just because to make fun of him or anything, but I gotta sneeze, and it's just not happening. Gee, okay. Gee. So, he started posting on Instagram, saying he's getting ready to post a song. Let me see if I can find that tweet. He said, "I'm so excited with my new project for the new year, and I cannot wait to be able to share it with you soon. I shall be singing and dancing around the world, spreading lots of love and joy. Hashtag Eurovision." So that is when people were like, uh-oh, hot dog. Is he going to Eurovision? And of course, ultimately look at who could it be? Because San Marino said it's going to be an international star. So, Zach,
is he really international?
Well, he's from Brazil.
I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he's from Brazil. He's originally from Brazil. And so technically but I think I've seen pictures of him before somewhere in tabloid magazines, because he was more of a sensation. The guy who had too much plastic surgery, blah, 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 right? But I didn't know what else he has done that would give him, like, a status of celebrity, whether it's singing, fashion, whatever it is, right? Oh, Eurotowley, thank you for your super chat. The boys are back in town. Yes, I need human Ken for San Marino. I need an opinion. What about your opinion of Bosnia 1905, Slovenia 1993, and I'll throw in one more, Belarus 2009. Gosh, Belarus 2009 was... What was Belarus?
The rocker. I think it was a guy with long hair.
Oh, yes. Forgettable to me. That's the thing, because I don't remember him. What do you think? Do you like that one?
I remembered it didn't qualify.
That is a problem, I guess.
But there are a lot of good songs in 2009 that didn't qualify.
Yes, that was one of those years where we lost a lot of good stuff.
I'm trying to think. Bosnia 95. Was Bosnia 95 that woman who... No, that was 96. That woman who was shrieking.
Yes, that was 96. And that was Croatia, though.
Oh.
I would have to look. I was just talking to him, actually, like, he always throws at this curveball, so I don't remember 1995. I mean, and I've watched them all, and you have too, but they just don't come to me, which makes me believe that they're just not as memorable. I'm looking them up on YouTube right now. Bosnia, I don't even recognize the picture anymore of that guy from 95. Wow. I totally forgot 1995. Looking even at the picture right now, and I don't remember this one. I'm sorry, Eurotowley. Bosnia 1995, totally not on my radar. And Slovenia 1993. Yeah, that's another guy here. I don't remember him either. I remember seeing a picture of him, but I think he's more of the rocker dude from the old days, like the early 90s, that has the former Yugoslavian rock sound, which I'm not necessarily gravitating towards. You know what I'm talking about, Zach? That kind of music, the rock that they played back then.
Yeah, I mean it was all right, but I mean, I know
Yes.
you were about the teeny bopper stuff.
Moi? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm totally a teeny bopper stuff. That's why I love Junior Eurovision. Shut up, Zach. He knows how much I get crazy about that. He likes to push my buttons. Anyway, let's go back
Hey,
to.
Junior Eurovision's awesome, just because kids don't hide the fact when they're pissed off.
That is my favorite part. Although they do that now, because France was kind of like, okay, we're happy for you. Okay, that was a total Oscar. I did not win the trophy moment though. So
I know, but do you remember Malta, the last time Malta hosted, where every time Malta didn't get 12 points, you could hear all the little Maltese kids booing?
Oh yes, yes, yes. I didn't watch the show, but I watched clips of that because I think you showed it to me, and I was like, oh geez. I like more like when the kids are like so upset that they didn't win, but it's because I wouldn't want to be a kid and be in Eurovision. It is too much pressure, too much pressure. So we'll have to see. Anyway, let's go back to San Marino real quick because we haven't finished that yet. So the whole thing. What if? Let's just assume it's Rodrigo Alves, the Ken doll for San Marino. Will you withhold judgment until you hear the song, or do you find this more of a PR stunt overall, and you're not for it?
I I don't believe he's representing it because Diana, the woman from Russia, said the same thing. So I believe they're just taking advantage of a situation and trying to get their own marketability out by using San Marino in Eurovision. I find it surprising that San Marino would actually let them announce their representation of their country this early when they're making a big deal about the January 21st announcement.
Yes, and that was exactly, you stole my point. That's exactly
Yep.
what I was going to say. I'm like, if they are really representing San Marino, either one of these two individuals, why would they announce that on Instagram? Usually the broadcaster said, this is tight-lipped. You cannot say anything, and that usually is the rule. So it doesn't make sense. However, there's one caveat I'm going to throw out there, Zach. San Marino relies mostly on funding from not the broadcaster but outside. Before it was Ralph Siegel, and then the Turkish singer they paid basically for their participation. If the Brazilian Ken doll pays, I always use him, or even the Russian singer, if one of them really throws the money at them, do they have another choice? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's all we can do. It's free.
I don't know. The other choice would be just to take a year off and figure it out.
I don't want that. I don't want a year without San Marino.
I, I don't. I didn't want a year without Bulgaria or Bosnia, but I mean, I kind of have a rule that as long as there are 40 countries, I'm pretty happy. That year in Denmark where there was, what was it, 37, and there was a semifinal with only 15 countries participating, that kind of sucked. Um, but I think there's such a push for the number of entrants that I would rather have good entries, and I just don't think Rodrigo or Diana can deliver good entries. Now,
Yeah.
someone could have said that about Valentina in 2013 before her song came out, based upon Social Network song, but um, it's just a matter of, do we really need to compete just to say we're there, even if we think the song is bad?
That is true. That is true. Oh man, I'm trying to. I mean, again, we're just speculating here because it could be completely someone. It could be Valentina returning or somebody completely unexpected.
Yeah,
So
I
right
mean,
now,
I'd love for them to have something fantastic come in. I mean, I'd love to see San Marino make it to the finals again. I mean, honestly, there are times where I go through Eurovision on YouTube and I'll just pull up the clip of them qualifying because it was such a shocker.
that was one of my favorite moments. I wasn't even crazy about the song, maybe, but I love Chris Ali the year
Oh,
before.
I remember
But
you were. I remember we were texting because I was texting from my home, and
yes,
when I was in Indiana, and you were saying, "I'm right near the green room. I'm gonna watch Valentina not qualify again," and then she did.
yes, then she did. I was right there in front of them, like because the green room is right there in the standing area, and I just decided, okay, I'm just gonna go all the way back and stand by the thing so I can take a look at the acts, and I just happened to end up right in front of San Marino. I'm like, well, this is unfortunate. I'm gonna stand in front of the ones that are not going to qualify. And then when it happened, I was also surrounded by people from the San Marino team. It was one of my most favorite moments ever. There was
I
great
just
moments, but
well, I just remember our
I know you're
colleague
gonna.
Roy from South Africa talking about in 2010 when what is it? He was able to sit in the room or near the room, and he sat next to Malta and a couple other countries that didn't qualify, and he said the woman from Malta was just a mess. I mean, it was like I remember in 2013. I mean, we were right behind San Marino, but all I remember
Switzerland
is
and Macedonia to the side, like we were surrounded by those three countries. None of them
all I
qualified.
remember is the poor woman from Israel just bawling, like just losing it, and I just felt horrible for her.
Yes, that was tough. Like, there's so much pressure put on these actors. So I'm trying to be nice. Like, we don't even know what they're going for. And I felt bad for Valentina, not because I don't know if you remember that moment, but then it was the 10th qualifier, and that one camera guy was running towards Valentina, making it look like she's going to be the last one. And the last qualifier is, and the camera ran towards her.
Oh, I remember. I grabbed
And
you.
then
I grabbed your
Greece!
shoulder, and
You're like,
you were just like, "Nope, it's Greece."
yeah. But even I was like, nah, it's Greece. It's not going to be that way. But it was cruel for Valentina. You're kind of like, oh my God, oh my God. Oh no.
No, it's yeah. I mean, it's Eurovision's in a sense reality TV.
Yes. So basically, the moral of the story is here at San Marino. Don't necessarily just listen to the hype. We're going to get the announcement in a couple of weeks on January the 21st. That's when they will announce the act. Not necessarily the song, but definitely we'll know if these rumors are true. Both Zach and I think we're on the same page saying, don't hold your breath. I could easily see somebody else actually represent San Marino just because why would they put out the information if they would probably agree with the broadcaster to keep it hush-hush until they can make an official announcement. That is what we're at, but we could be wrong. Moritz is asking, please say something to Hyann Fischer, who wants to represent Austria. Have you heard about it? Moritz, I've seen a few people talk about Hyann Fischer. I gonna have to claim ignorance here. I've only heard about the act, which I assume is a homage to Helene Fischer, a famous Schlager singer, the most famous Schlager singer in Germany.
It's a joke act, and I think if I remember, it's they are it's a bit controversial just because it was kind of doing a joke related to, I think one of the videos was related to Nazi Germany. Um, and I think there was some concern about that where the artists were saying, no, you're looking at it from the surface. There's something more meaningful and deeper behind it. But I could be mistaken. I'm going to play a little bit ignorant on that as well. But I mean, that may be a joke act. That's what I think would be a joke or a satire act that it would have to translate well.
Yes,
kind of going back to what
you
we
have
were
to be
saying
very
before.
careful with that kind of stuff. That makes me a little icky, like a little uncomfortable. A little bit uncomfortable. All right, we have about 15 minutes left because then the Lithuanian show will start. Let's talk about Spain. We've been talking about Spain almost every week. We talked about it last week with Sebastian, where we just shared, our favorites and based on the 1 minute snippet. But now we narrowed it down to 10 songs. Some surprises. 3 of the songs were chosen by the public, and then the rest were chosen internally. Zach, did you have a chance to listen to the 10 snippets that are still in the running?
No, all I heard is that the 3 chosen by the public were just, divas and belting out music.
Is
Fan
there
wanks, as
yeah.
we call it.
Well, it is true how. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, there is a bit. Oh, and Sebastian's correcting us. He's saying it had nothing to do with Nazi Germany. Hyann Fischer. It was more like the 1920s.
Oh, like the
pre
Depression?
Nazi Germany.
Oh, not okay. Gotcha.
I'm not sure. I will withhold saying anything stupid. I should just shut my mouth on that. But as far as Spain, I would say what I've heard the fan base talking about online is that this is just more disappointment because it is going to provide Spain with the same type of song they are brought forth when there are better songs available. And it sounds like people are hoping that maybe the 7 songs that were selected, aside from the 3, may have just as well of a chance as those 3 that are chosen. All I can say is that I know Famous was really kind of one of the contestants who really wanted to represent Spain at Eurovision, whereas it sounded like some of the other artists were not so keen or not as excited. And I feel like you have to have someone who really wants to be there
Yeah.
to be able to get someone who's delivering a good show. I mean, I think about Anja Nielsen from Denmark in 2017. I remember at one of the pre-concerts, she was talking about how it was a childhood dream and actually broke down a bit and cried a bit about how happy she was to represent Denmark and to be at Eurovision.
Yeah.
And that's what you should expect out of an artist. You can't have an artist there who's just saying, yeah, whatever, I'm at Eurovision, whatever. This is whatever. You want someone who's a little bit more sold on being there.
Yes, no, and that we talked about that same thing last week. It is true, and that is the problem we have because the favorite, as based on the 1 minute snippet, and I put it also at my number one based on that, was Maria Murder Me. I was called Murder Me, but it's pronounced Muerde. Close enough. That one was the fan favorite, and I actually put it in first place only because it has the most standout potential. And that one won the online vote. No surprise there, went through. So that one I can see. The other ones were not on my radar at all. So that was a little bit surprising. And as you said, Famous really wants to go to Eurovision. There were only like 2 singers, and he was one of them. And they were giving him a pretty disappointing entry. It didn't even make it into the top 3 of the online vote. So the actual producers had to push him through. Yeah, he was the winner, and we talked about before. He only was given 1 song, while someone like Miki, he got 3 songs. I'm like, how does that make sense? It's just a very confusing and ineffective process, I think. And one of the shockers was also Alba Reche is her name. She was the runner-up of the show. She's not even going to be in the running at all. She's out already. Her song was not chosen at all.
Yeah, so a lot of the people in the chat are saying, yeah, Maria doesn't even want to go to Eurovision.
Mm-hmm.
It's really putting the fans in 2 different factions. You know, do we send an artist who really wants to go even if the song's bad, or do we send a really good song and an artist who is sort of meh about it? And I don't know. I'm kind of torn because if you're on OT, you should kind of know that comes with the territory. That you
at least this year. Last year, not yet, but this year, yes.
Yeah, but this year you should know. But at the same time, they got to work the system as well. You know, they're gonna do whatever they can to get their fans so that whether or not they win, they have a potential career in music. And maybe they say, you know, before during the auditions, yeah, I'll do this, and then once the time comes, they're like, nah, I really don't want to do it. This isn't what I want to do.
Can they though? If they're under contract?
If there's enough artists that don't want to go, maybe we'll have like a Germany 2015 all over again. And the winner is Maria, and she's like, nah, I don't want to go.
You know what? I'm okay, lad. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I hope not. I mean, as you said, they knew what they're getting themselves into this year in particular. Last year, they didn't. They just said like halfway through the show, by the way, one of you is going to Eurovision. And they're like, oh, okay. You know, it was this year they knew upfront that this was going to be the case, and I think they will go regardless, knowing what it is. But often, and it was similar with Alfred last year, who was one half of the Spanish duo. He wasn't like thrilled about going to Eurovision either, but as time progressed, he was getting more and more excited about it. In the end, he was all about it. So something similar might happen to them, and we don't know if she's going to win, Maria, right? We're just using her as an example, but because she's the fan favorite, it's obviously the best one to use. And should we put Famous through just because he wants to go to Eurovision and he won OT? That's also a dangerous thing to do because he wanted to at least do somewhat well at Eurovision. I don't know. I think my problem is the way they're doing the whole selection process in Spain right now. That is going to be counterproductive and painful. Oh, by the way, Eurotowley, thanks again for your super chat. I'm being too obscure and mad. I will ask your opinion of Germany 1956. Im Wartesaal zum großen Glück. Now that one I know. The singer was a Holocaust survivor. What an inspirational man. Do you know that one at all, Zach? Germany 1956? I didn't think so.
There was Eurovision that year.
That was the very first year where Germany was able to send 2 songs. Or every country had 2 songs in the running. One was Freddie Quinn, and one was Im Wartesaal zum großen Glück, which basically, it's a long song title, which just basically means in the waiting room to the big happiness. It's a very amazing song actually, and I'm going to agree with you on this one. It's talky. He talks mostly almost, which is odd for the old days back then. But it was a very emotional song, and I connected with it. But I speak the language. I know the words, so I love it. It's like my favorite from that year, probably. So yeah,
it sounds like a lot of people on the forum are saying, and I saw Nels Reviews Music said the same thing. Maybe there will be a Germany 2015, but it sounds like a lot of people are saying, OT just shouldn't be part of the Eurovision selections process. That it should be something separate.
yes,
And maybe people have a point there. I think Spain is in this mindset that it worked so well 17, 15 years ago that it's going to work again as well. And I feel like that's a mistake a lot of countries make, where they think, how do we take care of our issue? Oh, we'll just bring back a returning artist. Bulgaria did it in 2013. FYR Macedonia did it in 2016. We know how that worked out. The Netherlands did it with Etzilia Romney. What was that, in 2005? Iceland with Selma in 2005 as well.
Didn't work out.
It's really, the artist plays a role, but at the end of the day, it's the song. And, I may be answering the question that I think you were bringing up, is what matters more, an artist who really wants to go or the song. I mean, the song is good and it's performed in a functional manner.
I know.
Functional. Then you have a good shot.
That's exactly what I'm saying about, because keep in mind, yes, us Eurovision fans, us in the bubble, if you will, we want someone at Eurovision who really wants to go. The person that just turns on Saturday night to watch the show, they don't give a, they give rat's ass. Yeah, it's like
you could have Loreen back up there, and they'd be like, "Who is that?" I mean, all my other half remembers about Loreen is her doing the crab walk.
The crab walk.
He sees the clip, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the lady that did the crab walk." Doesn't know anything else about her.
Yeah, Jordan. Oh, hi, Jordan. He agrees that OT shouldn't have anything to do with Eurovision. This year is making 2017 look simple. 2017, I meant to bring that up actually. Did you watch the national final in 2017 in Spain? Contigo with the "When Do It For Your Lover" one in a very controversial fashion.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And Niels corrected me. It was 2007 for Celia Rombley. I totally butchered her name. But yeah, I didn't watch. I watched bits of 2017. I just remember, what was the name of the other woman who everyone wanted to win, and then Manon Navarro.
Mirella, it was Contigo. Da, da, da. I know the song, but I can't. Mirella or something like that. What's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was, and there was a song called "Ouch," which was bit as well. But then the juries were.
That was the best. That was the song that should have went.
I like that best as well, even though it made me giggle when she was singing "Ouch." But
but I mean, okay. So if we're talking about Spain, we're going back to 2017. We wrote about this in ESCunited. The one thing the broadcaster cannot do is talk smack about their artists like they did to Manel after Eurovision, because you remember they did that tweet at his expense, and we were both discussing the fact that you have to support your artist through thick or thin. And I mean, he didn't have the worst voice crack of 2017. That honor goes to what's his name from Australia.
Oh yes,
that one. I mean,
yes.
Good God, that was just.
But he was forgiven for that, at least by the juries.
Yeah, not the televoters.
And that is true. Not the televoters. That is true. So it's yes, I think we're on the same page. So let's just then go through, because we're running on. We have 5 minutes before Lithuania starts. Let's answer a few questions. Hey, Matt and Zach, the winner of OT Gala forfeit and not go to Eurovision. We addressed that a few minutes ago. I don't know if they can even do that contract-wise, because when they go onto these TV shows, they sign their lives away. So I would think that they said, if you win the Eurovision thing, you have to go. I don't think they have the options to just say, sorry. I'm pretty sure that they will go. And I don't want them to, if that's what the people want to see at Eurovision, and then less inferior song wins, I would not be a fan. So, another question that we have. Davina Michel from the Netherlands turns down the offer to represent the Netherlands at Eurovision. She was asked to do it. The broadcaster, Avrotos, said that they were 50% there of making the decision. Okay, do you have any artist, Zach, that you could see that should represent the Netherlands? But usually, just like I am, you usually would just use your repertoire from previous acts to return, right? 'Cause I don't think that... Is it
I want, and I've been saying this for years, and you've been telling me they would never say yes, but this year they actually said maybe Within
Within
Temptation.
Temptation? Yes,
Yep.
it's been a lot. I don't know if they're still famous in Netherlands or if their star is no longer.
They have a new album coming out. I think it came out this week there. I know that their success on the singles charts isn't as well as it used to be, but they still play concerts, and I know they're coming to the U.S. because I'm actually thinking of trying to figure out a
Ooh,
way to
really?
fly to
Where?
one of the other cities. Yeah, they have a world tour, and they're going to be in the U.S. I think they actually may be near you. I have to either go to Chicago or Atlanta or somewhere, but I'm thinking of going. I just don't know how I'm going to look being. I don't know. I just have this vision that it's going to be all these goth people, and then there's going to be nerdy, dorky me there in the mix doing the, white man overbite dance.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But I would like to see um, Within Temptation or something in the vein of Within Temptation represented. And I think we've talked about this, that they'd be willing to write a song. And they do have songs that would fit for Eurovision. They have songs that don't fit for Eurovision out of the repertoire. I mean, I'm thinking like a song like Sinead from the
Ooh.
Unforgiving
I know that one
album
now.
would be a perfect
I was going to say,
Eurovision-esque song.
yes, that was perfect. I completely agree with that. And it's still true to their art, their
But a
craft.
song like Memories from one of the albums 10 years ago,
I don't remember that
typically
one.
their sound operatic. I don't know. It's a really cool song, but it's just not Eurovision-esque.
Yeah. All right, we got time for one more question, and we talked about it briefly before, Zach, before we went live. Did you
Yep.
hear about Niall? I think that we pronounce his name these days.
Niall
Horan is rumored for Ireland of 2019. ES Extra have an article on that. Yes, I've heard about that. In case those who don't know, especially people that are not 21, he used to be a member of One Direction, right? And they recently disbanded like a year ago or so. And what do you think, Zach? Would that be a good choice, sending a former One Direction band
I
member?
think it's been more than a year since they disbanded.
I don't even know.
I know you act like you don't know. I know you have all their albums.
I do.
No, I actually did download a Zayn song from iTunes. I'll admit, but Liam was always my favorite. One of the five of them, I'll admit.
I didn't know that you had a favorite. I don't even know all their names. I know that
Well,
there's.
I'm not basing it on talent. I'm basing it on other
Oh,
aspects of them.
gotcha.
But let's see. If again it's a good song, then it can utilize his talent. Then so be it. But if you have a really crappy song, such as you had with what's his name from Westlife.
I was going to
and
say
really-
that. Is he going to be the Nicky Byrne? Because don't get me wrong.
That's his name, yeah.
I know that Zayn was the popular one, and the really popular one was Harry Truman. I forgot his name. Harry something.
Harry Styles.
Harry
Louis
Styles.
Tomlinson, Niall or Niall
Yes.
Horan.
I don't know their
and
names,
Liam
but
Payne and
yes.
Zayn something.
He is. I didn't even know he was part of One Direction because he was never really mentioned. I don't know if he's really like just the one that doesn't sing as much as the others, or if it's different with them. So I would hate to have a situation where you send another big name of a band that was pretty big a few years ago. But does it matter? Like, do you think at this point people would still go crazy over a One Direction member? I could be. I don't know. I'm really. That's a genuine question.
I don't know. And Emfrem here saying, I don't find it fair going to Eurovision as he would have a global fan base, something the others don't have. I mean, I will say, there may be some truth in that, but there have been other artists who have had really big fan bases who weren't as successful at Eurovision.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then, Matt, there's one user who's asking you about Romania.
What about it?
The Romanian entries. Any thoughts on that?
I have not listened. I have not listened to them yet. That's my next video, probably. I was hoping we get like the semifinal allocation so I can do multiple videos, but I have not listened to them yet. It's to come. So hold on. Don't spoil it for me. Don't say who's your favorite, because I don't want to know. I don't want to be influenced by your opinions whatsoever. So that's to come. That's to come.
All right. And so, yeah, Florin, I did that for you. I brought that up for you. So we're not ignoring Romania, I promise.
Oh no, I did all those videos. Romania was very appreciative that I did. I went through every single semifinal last year, watched them and reacted to them. It was exhausting. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I did it anyway because that's what I do. I love it. So, other than that, is there any other final questions? Because I know people want to jump over to Lithuania. I mean, not physically, but to the show. Um, Nope, that's it for today. Okay, thank you, everyone. Zach, you'll be back, right?
Yeah, you got me in 2 weeks, right?
I think yeah, he'll be back in a couple of weeks for our next one. I think that might be even the French show. So the second semifinal, I want to say. I'm maybe off. No, I think it's for the French show, the second semifinal. So we'll see you then. Thanks again. Once again, my apologies for the choppiness of the live stream at the beginning. Hopefully we won't have that issue again. Now it's fine.
Yeah.
Now that we're done. And